Alrighty. So we are a little short of folks. I think we sent out some reminders a little late. Apologize for that, but we do have some news and updates, and so we will get going. And also, there's been several other meetings in the last week that have been planned. So I think some folks may be spending their time in some of those other meetings. So we'll see. But I expect a couple of folks will be there. Okay. So there is an agenda available public repository, and share my screen. Okay. Walk through. Couple things that are new. So we're in the midterm of the Kickstarter. I'll let Giovanni say more about that when we get there. But we have nearly 400 backers, I think. A lot of people excited about the project. Got a bit further to go in our goal. I think that I'm still confident that things are going to get really exciting here by the end. And we're talking with a lot of folks. So we just got to keep pushing and make it happen. But it is exciting to see all the excitement and the love and the energy that folks have had around this so far. Hi, Matteo.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Rainer. All right, tasting links for you guys. All right. Last time I was just about to go do a Reddit AMA. Now I've done a Reddit AMA. I got some feedback. Folks said that they thought it was good. I think it helped raise the profile of the project. That was exciting. You can go check it out. Last time I talked about getting a crossover going between Tom and Porig to look at the C302. That has been scheduled for tomorrow. It is on the OpenWorm calendar. So it'll at least be the three of us. If anyone else wants to jump in, just let me know. Or just join via the calendar. Then let's see. There was a crossover conversation between Jim, Michael, and Matteo. Since Matteo's here, maybe I'll let Matteo say a little bit about that. His update. Okay, waffle board. So as promised, and just kind of wrapped up before this meeting, there is now a waffle board for OpenWorm. And although this is an experiment, I'm excited to say I think it's going well so far. So I just wanted to walk through real quick the waffle board and so folks can see what's inside of it. This is a master board for every project in the OpenWorm repository, which is kind of overwhelming at first. This one does include all of Geppetto, even though there is also a separate board that just has Geppetto. The nice thing about this is that just because you make one board that's a mega board doesn't mean that there can't be more micro boards and more focus boards. But this is the one for everything, and so it aggregates all issues. You can still filter this one by individual repositories, as Matteo showed. So if you just want to see what issues are, say, in only my OpenWorm, you can go do that, and you can see that there's just the one there. Or you can go up and remove that filter. Okay. If you want to see, for example, what issues are in cybernetic, you just go there and look at those. So, and there are several different columns. So, like Matteo was saying before, there's an idea of a progression that moves from left to right. There's an ideas column for things that are abstract. There's backlog for sort of the kitchen sink, everything that we might want to do. There's this ready column, and the idea of the ready column is that this should actually be that folks are working on or thinking to work on. Otherwise, they should probably be in the backlog. There's in progress. Let me actually get rid of the short filter. Okay. There's in progress, which should be things that people are actually working on right now. And then there's needs review after something is finished, but maybe it hasn't been checked in, so things like pull requests would go there. And then everything that's finished would go into done. And you can see the latest thing is adding a badge to the OpenWorm site. And happily, none of this is redundant with GitHub, so all of this is exactly a GitHub issue, which I think is really powerful. So every issue here, you can first you can open it up and see this nice interface here, which is kind of a comment type thing, sort of looks like a card. But if you want to actually look at the representation on GitHub, you can do that too, and it's exactly the same. So very cool stuff. You can see that right now a lot of this is dominated by the Geppetto issues, which is fine, but there's also issues here now that are coming in from the movement validation repo, from basically all the other repos. So I think this is solving the problem that we normally have, the problem that we have had, which is whether to put issues in the main OpenWorm repository or to put them in a sub repo. And so thanks to Matteo taking the lead on making this waffle board and figuring out this strategy of having issues at different levels. I think now we can both see things that are spread across multiple places, and we can see things that are in the top level. So for me, what that means is, for example, issues that issues that relate to cybernetic can now go down to cybernetic. I think issues that are very specifically related to cybernetic can go down here without losing the clarity of where they are from all over. So yeah, anybody else? Anybody want to comment on this? I see we've got a few more folks in. Hi, Balash. Hi, Michael. Here's the agenda. Hi, Rainer. Yeah, so here's the link again to this based on that. So basically, the thing for folks to know is that if you are working on something and it isn't in the in progress column, you should consider putting it in the in progress column, and you should consider assigning yourself to it. Because right now, these are the things that look like they're happening, and I know that there's more than just this that's happening. In fact, I'm doing more than just this, so I will follow my own advice first and put my stuff in here. But no matter what repo you're working on, you should be able to represent your kind of current progress in here. So maybe we'll actually try to follow that here today, and maybe as we're going and folks are saying kind of what they've been working on, maybe we'll try to update this board as we go so that it's current.
Hey, Stephen, sorry if I missed this, but did we agree that this is going to be the only waffle board, or are we still okay with having multiple ones for individual repositories?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yes. So
okay, I'll throw up a link to the movement validation one then, just in the meeting minutes then, so yes, people know about that one too.
Yes. So if you click here, you can actually see a bunch of different boards, separate boards. And so there's the Geppetto one that Matteo has made. I haven't yet added your movement validation one, but
cool. Okay. Great.
OpenWorm. So this is just the master one. And
okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Great. All right. So that is the news there, and so I'll be doing things like pointing, and I'll give this a couple weeks to burn in, but I think eventually we're going to point people to this when we say, look at our issues rather than any one individual repo, and then folks can drill down, obviously, into others, or we can have a list of them. I'm not exactly sure, but I think just pointing people to the OpenWorm repo is sort of insufficient to show the full scope of all the stuff that's being worked on. But this is kind of close to that. So if you have ideas or suggestions related to this, let me know. But we've taken the lead to make this happen. All right. So that's that. New Hangout strategy. Yeah. So I sent a mail about this to some folks. Just want to get your guys' opinion. So today, I think we don't have the problem of running out of space, just because I don't think we're going to get a number over 10. But we are doing an on-air hangout again, and that means other people can see what we're doing, and that's more open, and that's what we have done for the majority of the project since we had hangout. In fact, I see there's three viewers right now. Hi, viewers. But the problem is that if we want more than 10 people to join us, interact with us, we can't do an on-air hangout. So has anybody sort of thought about this? Does anybody want to express their opinion here about what we do? Because I'm kind of, otherwise I'm going to report schizophrenically between the meetings I think are going to get more than 10 that are not going to be on air.
We should try and keep it open. As I mean, and maybe we had this problem before, but not in this context. So maybe keep for sub-project, if we can't fit 10 people, we get one person to report out of a sub-project. Instead of having multiple people who are doing the same thing, and they're probably going to be very similar updates. But that's just a thought. So that could be one way. I don't know that we want to do it, but it would be nice because like we have the archive and people can go and look at the things. And of course, if we have to do meetings where everybody's required, then yeah, it's not an option.
Okay, so that means that we would limit the attendance of this to 10, basically. Okay.
Yeah, in that case, yeah, it would be a constraint that's not nice, but until they will, I don't know what else to do. We need to basically set what the priority is. Do we want this to be streamed? Do we want people to be able to look at it, access it from YouTube, or do we want to bring everybody in? I think it depends on what we're talking about. Sometimes the priority can be one, sometimes the other. But I think we just have to make a policy for ourselves. But maybe this is a good discussion for the mailing list. So.
Okay. Yeah. Other perspectives?
No, I just think it's useful if we have them archived if they're live. So my inclination would be towards, because it's like I just think that if they are not live, maybe it's 11 of us, 12 of us, but it's like there's much more people disappointed because they don't know what is going on. So that would be my first gut reaction to this. Shall we have an extra one of us, and maybe we can take turns if it gets to that or things like that. But I would be happy if these things kept getting recorded, as that has always been the case.
I know for a fact that some people rely on the Hangouts to catch up with the project. I mean, I've heard multiple times, and sometimes you get people who are posting to the mailing list and they're asking questions about something that's been discussed during the meetings. So if you take that away, then I think it removes an important component for the community. That is my gut feeling, and I would propose that we find a way to keep it like that. But
Lash is asking, do we know on average how many people watch these meetings on YouTube? I've seen in the live ones, during the streaming period, go up to as many as 12. Right now there's 3. And then after the fact, archived, it's hard to say because because unless you watch a video from beginning to end, you don't actually count, it doesn't actually get counted as a view. So a partial view isn't a full view. So we tend to get very low numbers, but that I think is because, realistically nobody watches this from beginning to end, but they may start, and watch the first 15 minutes or something, and then maybe stick around. So it's hard to say, but of course it's a long tail kind of phenomenon. The more of these that are out there, the longer they've been out there, the more they can get watched, or we can go back and reference them. Every now and then as well, it's also been nice to be able to pull. Sorry to. To pull some clips out of this that have been exciting into other videos, shorter things that highlight something that's got done recently. So that's another.
I was just to add to what you were saying. I looked through all their stuff in the archive, and it seems like around 20 views for stuff that's archived. It's not like
it's not like a Beyonce music video or anything, but the long tail aspect, I think, that for people who care, it is nice to have that and get tuned in every time.
Okay, I just wanted to get an order of magnitude feel for the number.
Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts here before we move on? So, I generally tend to agree that we want to keep it open. I also don't feel great about telling people. It's kind of a problem that you have in the physical world, like a room that only has kind of air admittance. I have sent a feature request to Google. So when Larry and Sergey I'll get on that, and if I'm not, oh, we're getting some background noise. I think maybe from the lodge. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks. All right. So we'll continue to wrestle with that issue, but just so everybody here knows, if we end up having to do something and there's limited space or seats or whatever, like just understand that it's a problem of the technology, not of us. Okay. So muscle cell synapse work. Since Rainer's here, I'll let him talk about it. But Rainer, I'd really love to show some of the things on that issue today in the update. Some of the images that we've taken when we've done some of that work, and also the stuff that Porg has done, because I know he won't join us. So I think that's moving along really quite nicely, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, we're definitely getting somewhere on that with some help from Jim and
Yeah.
a couple of others. Yeah, so at the moment I'm spending quite a bit of time learning my way around Neuron.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
I actually know what I'm supposed to be doing on that, and yeah, I still need to set up another meeting with you to do some more work on this. So
Yep.
yeah,
No problem. Actually, you want to, since you're sort of talking, and that was kind of the last thing I was gonna go over. All this is still the high level release 6 milestones, just to remind everybody. But do we want to just real quick go ahead and do a show and tell here? Just kind of mix up the order.
hang on, I'll just post the link to the GitHub issue again.
Okay, so yeah.
So
you go ahead and maybe share your screen, and I will update the agenda here, and you can just walk people through how that issue is going.
okay, yeah, hang on. Let's see if I can do a screen share here.
So as you're getting that going, right? So we've for a long time we've built a muscle cell model based on the work of Netta Cohen, and there's a couple of forms of that, and we have a repo for that. And we have this nervous system NeuroML model, right? And so one of the things for a while that we've wanted to do is make the connection between motor neurons and the muscle cell. And this is what Rainer has jumped on. So now let me turn it over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Stephen and I have been through this this paper that describes how the neuromuscular junction works and what neurotransmitters are involved, what types of receptors, and how they respond to a stimulus of different sizes. So if I go back to this, yeah, we've already got a subset of the connectome involving one muscle cell and I think 8 neurons, motor neurons connecting to it that we can use as a model to start work on this. Neuroconstruct our Neuroconstruct project has already got this MDL08 connections sub-project set up in it. So that's helpful. We were having a bit of trouble last time because adding an electrical stimulus to one or more of the motor neurons didn't seem to actually produce any sort of postsynaptic response.
Yeah, show that image. This is a screenshot below.
Was that the one you posted?
Yeah, there.
Yeah. Yes. Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we added a voltage clamp input to one of the motor neurons, and so we've got a graph of voltage in the motor neuron plotted here, but the postsynaptic response, this is in the muscle cell itself, was staying completely flat. But yeah, we got some help with we got some help here from Padraig, who thinks that the problem we were running into was just that the point in the motor neuron we were stimulating was actually too far away from the synapse by the look of it, and so the voltage actually at the end of the axon was not actually high enough to cause any noticeable neurotransmitter release, I think. In any case, it seems like he has had a bit more success than we were having. He's added several inputs to that subsystem and has actually got a postsynaptic response here. And the different sizes of response is related to the number of synapses between the motor neuron being stimulated and the muscle cell. So it looks like the connections we have do work. We were just stimulating them in the wrong way. So yeah, a lot of thanks to Dr. Gleason for that.
So Andre, you've seen this? The stimulation of the muscles ultimately should be showing up inside cybernetic to get them to work. And if we can push this a bit further and incorporate this into the Python layer, they will be. And it could be very exciting.
Yes, I agree. Well, Mike was usually working with Python part of cybernetic. I'm almost not familiar with this language, unfortunately, yet. Well, if we will consider the possibility to implement it as C++, as C++ side, maybe it will be easier for me. But, well, if anybody is familiar with Python at good level and
yep.
Also understand that new conception about muscles, which was just discussed, maybe we can work together somehow to make it work.
So what I'm hoping is that the conversation tomorrow with Poreg, so he's got his simpler C302, which is the entire network, which is not at the same level of detail or resolution as this, what we're seeing here. And it's being implemented in sort of NeuroML, Python kind of language. So what I'm hoping is that this actually is that we get Poreg to edit that Python code and be the kind of the leader in some neurons to cybernetic, and that's one of our milestones, is to connect the motor neuron. But what Rainer's doing is going deeper because we know that is just going to be a high-level approximation, the C302, and this now gets into the things that actual biologists will be able to compare with, because the C302, the disadvantage of it is that it's not as biologically realistic, and there's not as much for real biologist kind of to grab onto, other than the names of the neurons and the connection patterns and general positions. So the path would be, after C302 is connected, then we start replacing that more abstract model with this more detailed model. Plus, there's more. This is not in any way finished. This is just we successfully got synaptic transfer to happen, and we have plenty more to do to make the model actually fit what the reality is. But it's making good progress, and I just want folks to get excited that we have some neurons talking to some muscles, and we need to do more of that. So that's kind of where it's going. All right. And Rainer is taking a crash course in the neuron simulation environment as well. So, which is a complex environment. Okay. So, anything else, Rainer? I think that's really good stuff.
Okay. I'm not sure if you've got anything more to add. I'm hoping I've explained the state of things without too much waffling there.
Yeah. Any questions for Rainer? Okay.
Okay.
I'm hoping everybody seems to understand kind of where we are. So next steps are, we're going to set up another session, you and I, and we're going to see what we can do to make the actual waveform of the connection be more like what we see in the paper, because now it's some waveform, but we need to make it more specific and detailed. Yeah?
Yeah, that's pretty much the state of it.
All right.
Just to confirm, sorry, Steven.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, Rainer, the current model is not in NeuroML, right?
No, it is. Well,
it is.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Okay, and in what repository can I find it?
Okay. That if you it's there if you download the latest version of the Neuroconstruct package. So
C. elegans NeuroML repo, the one where the connectome has always been.
yeah, so it's part of the celegans.ncx project. That's So yeah, that's what we're working from at the moment.
Okay, I'll try to find it. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll create a new version of the quick start bundle I was working on before, and upload that and change all the links to point to it, so that it's easier for people who don't already have all that downloaded to take a look at it. I think it's been a few months since I last did one of those packages, so it's probably about time I created a new one anyway.
Great. So by the way, now in the in progress column on the waffle board is this issue 124. And you can also filter quite nicely. So I was able to find it by just sort of searching 124. So there it is. And so we know that is now in motion. All right. Let's keep changing up the order here a little bit. And let's see. Matteo was out. Matteo, did you have any follow-up question to that? Since
no, I think I found. I think I found the latest commit from Pori, so no, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, let's go to Andre. Changing it up a little bit, since we missed you, I think, last time. So, Andre, what's new, sir?
Okay. I'll try to share my screen. Show a few things. So here is a number of high-quality screenshots representing well, the different stages of the worm movement during a single simulation. It is necessary for the PCI-SPH paper. And one more useful thing, I have calculated a few parameters describing worm movement using these pictures. Well, I have a lot of them, hundreds of them, because I have found software which automatically makes screenshots every one screenshot during a given interval. I was calculating this for 3 days because performance at ordinary PC is quite slow. But well, what can be important for connections with real worm quantities? I have calculated velocity of worm's forward movement. I found that it's oh well, I see this value, but I'm not sure how to say it in English. 0.67 millimeters per second. I don't know what is the real movement, real velocity of the movement of the worm while swimming in water. Not sure. Also, there is a value which is known from the experiments. I have found a paper describing it. Velocity of propagation of sinusoidal wave of muscle contraction along the worm body. It is known that it is not higher than 2 millimeters per second. I have found that we currently use 4 millimeters per second, so we need to correct it by divided by a factor of 2 and then recalculate all this. I expect that we will get even lower velocity of forward movement because I have another data which I received from calculations. So this diagram, this graph shows how velocity of forward movement during swimming depends from viscosity of the liquid in which it happens. So here is one more set of graphs. Oh, one point at this one corresponds to one line here. It's the dynamics of center of mass of the worm movement with time. Each line is, yes.
Sorry, do you mind if I ask you a question? Because that the correlation between viscosity and forward speed, it's interesting to me because I know that the worm is able to exist in both soil environments, but also swim in like water or liquid. So
yeah.
In that environment, I guess the viscosity is quite low, but it's still able to achieve forward momentum, maybe through a different like locomotion mechanism, like I think it's a faster amplitude or sorry, like a different swimming wave motion basically. Is that accounted for here somehow, or what do you think about that?
Well, first I think that here we have not a complete swimming mode because the level of liquid it's white is lower than the warm white. So, well, it would
Fair
be
enough.
nice to show a screenshot where we see a cross section of the worm and liquid. But well, I will try to explain again. Very small, thin layer of liquid, and the worm. Significant part of the worm, upper part, is not covered with a liquid. So it touches the ground.
I see.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what will happen if the worm will be completely covered with liquid, since it has absolutely the same I forgot the word. Sorry. Плотность. I will take the translation system. I remember it in Russian, but I forgot in English. Yeah, density. So the density of the liquid and the density of the warm body is absolutely the same in current version. So there will be no difference for the worm to swim in the middle of the liquid or in the top or in the bottom. It's an interesting experiment. I think I will try to perform it sometime. Well, also I have tried to simulate a worm without any external liquid, only that one which is inside it and makes hydrostatic pressure inside the worm. Still no success. If we have no external liquid, there is no movement of the center of mass. I think that we should try a combination. Not the flat, solid, non-moving particles which I used. So there were only boundary particles at the bottom, but I think if we will make one single layer or a few layers of maybe elastic matter, so particles will be fixed at their places, but will be deformable a bit, and put the worm on this new type of the ground, it will be much more similar to agar, on which it crawls in petri dishes. Maybe this one approach will be more successful for the movement of the worm.
That would be really good to use an agar sort of type material, because that's exactly what the videos of real worms swimming that we have right now, of course, are doing. So yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, so it's nearest plans. And, well, for now, in general, this is all.
Andrei, question on the cybernetic. Are you still looking at the double to single transition?
Oh, I was trying to do something with this, but it was not so easy as I expected. Need to do some tricks to, well, somehow to split some very large value or very, very small value of double into two multipliers which are of type of float. It's possible to do, but to combine them again into the source value, doesn't work in all cases. You need to do some. Well, it depends on the situation. Sometimes I have not invented universal approach to do this.
Okay.
No, need to continue this stuff.
Ted, do you want to explain what that issue is, and also, do we have a GitHub issue for it somewhere?
Well, that's a good question. I know there's an issue which speaks to the one of the problems that I'm coming from, which is GPU computation on Cybernetic, and same thing for the porting of Cybernetic to Geppetto. Since double were introduced, basically is gone. As in, yeah, it just there is not many GPU that support double computation. I'm fetching the issue for you. And it's logged in the smooth particle hydrodynamics repo.
Which you can search through the WAF report.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I was
filtering on the master.
By the way, I'm a bit surprised why most of GPUs do not support double. Our quite old Tesla and just ordinary GPU card with quite old OpenCL, one's version 1.1 was working with doubles without any problems.
So this is the issue.
Okay.
And yeah, so Andrei, are you saying that when you run the current cybernetic, for instance, when you were taking the screenshot, are you saying that you use the GPU that you're able? Okay, and why are you not using your GPU? And why are you not using?
Once I have performed comparison between our CPU and GPU. CPU is quite modern and fast, and Tesla GPU is quite slow. So their performance was nearly the same, and it's much easier to use CPU in our case. But
okay, but was this
some time ago?
Yeah.
Some time ago, Cybernetic was working on GPUs, and well, several months already passed since I have not tried it since that time. So for current version, I'm not sure. I need to check how it works. Maybe it depends on operation system, drivers, so on.
Yeah, no, definitely Cybernetic used to work with GPU because that is what we, what we had at the beginning. And remember, we ported that to Geppetto as well, and that was working. It basically it stopped working. Basically, probably sometime after the membranes were introduced. And but yes, basically all I know is that I do have problems on my system. I did raise that bug that I linked on the chat, and other folks are also saying that that it basically using GPU doesn't work. I was talking to Sergey this Tuesday, and I know that it doesn't work on Sergey's GPU either. So
Okay.
I cannot be entirely sure that it is a problem of the code base, because I cannot be entirely sure. All I know is that for many people, the GPU, it basically using the GPU, it doesn't work anymore. While before it used to be kind of everywhere GPU was working. And so that is why I was interested in this transition from double to single, which following the hypothesis that the doubles is the problem, as some people raised on that issue, that would make the problem go away. The other thing that the transition from double to single precision would give us is performance, because the cybernetic would be much faster if.
Yes, I agree.
So that was the second thing why I was interested in this. But yeah.
Okay, I've pinged the issue again on GitHub, so that we just kind of bring the discussion back into the front. So maybe we can take this offline to that issue and see if we can maybe have some additional priority put on that. So thank you for that. Let's move on here in the group, so we can get to everybody. All right. Actually, since Matteo, since you're speaking, do you want to just continue on and provide your update? Maybe next.
I have so many windows open, I lost the agenda. Okay, I get it back. No. So I've been I've been attending on Monday the meeting about Geppetto, and there's basically what we've done is we've gone through the current issues that are opened, and we've done a bit of planning for the following weeks. I will personally be working on adding support for neural networks. So this will enable us visualizing both the C302 that Horik is working on, and our classical multi-compartment connector which we have. So I'm happy that now we're finally at after much work that has gone into the refactoring of the entities and the aspects in Geppetto to allow for this very moment to happen. So now I can go back and work to the original issue, which was the goal, which had the goal of supporting these two. I had a meeting sometime in the past 2 weeks, don't remember when exactly, with Jim and Michael, where we were, as you said earlier, analyzing the crossroad between the movement validation and Geppetto, and we found some practical steps we can start from, and basically it will be a matter of dumping the output of the movement validation into a Geppetto recording file, so that the features that Jim and Michael have worked to extract can be plotted and accessed from the browser. And that's an ongoing work. Jim raised some things that he would like to see support for, namely support for matrices and metadata, which both should be easy to add. And I created the issues on the org.geppetto.recording repository to add these two. So that might be something that Johannes might work on. Otherwise, I will eventually get at it. And Johannes, just to remind everyone, is the new Google Summer of Code student that will be working on Geppetto for adding support for replaying of simulations from Neuron and Brian. So that's something else that happened. I've added support for secure connection to Geppetto, which is something that was causing the Geppetto to being blocked by certain firewalls, because basically the WebSocket communication was sometimes gets blocked depending on what firewall, what protections you're using. And right now, if you go at live.geppetto.org, you will see that there is an HTTPS connection which is established with a server. We have now a certificate for that, and that now works. It took a bit of work to configure the server and everything. And yes, there's now a development instance set up for testing purposes for Geppetto that it's available at dev.geppetto.org. So available at dev.jupyter.org that can be used by everyone who wants to test the features live, so on the remote Amazon server. And the final thing, there is 20 people interested in contributing. One is a guy, but they're both Italians, but just it's not a plan. It's a coincidence that they're both Italian. So one is named Dario Del Piano, the other one is named Domenico Luciani. Domenico has actually already contributed a pull request yesterday, which I managed to merge today to improve some performance on the front end of Geppetto. So that was quite nice, and thank you. And that's yes, that's pretty much what I've been up to in the past 2 weeks. So there will be another Geppetto meeting, I suppose. I'm trying to do this every second week. So on the 19th of May, and everybody is very welcome to attend. It's like the purpose is just to, as we always had other sort of sub-project meetings for people to have some more in-depth and technical details about what goes on in these other efforts. So the goal is just to have more low-level discussions, and that's what will happen. So anybody who's interested in that, it's on the OpenWorm calendar, and I also sent an email on the discuss list.
Great. Hey, Matteo or Michael, we took notes from that meeting, right? And they were a document, and I've just been looking through to find them. We should link those in. I'm having trouble searching for them.
Okay, I'll try to find that.
So that folks can see. Great. Okay. So Boreg and Sergey are not here. That's not here. It's my fault for not providing enough notice for this meeting. Although the calendar, it was on the calendar, so everybody can see it on the calendar. But I usually feel like the reminders are kind of pretty critical for everybody remembering. So, okay, so let's go to Giovanni.
Okay, so as you know, I've been looking after this Kickstarter initiative in terms of social media, that kind of stuff. But just as an update to everybody, campaign, we're getting encouraging feedback. There's a lot of backers, and the goal is 120K, as you know. We raised 34.4 so far with more than 400 backers, which is good, but we're not exactly hitting it out of the park yet. The way the stuff works is basically starts fairly, loads of donations at the beginning of pledges, and then it goes down and it goes flat. And then in the last week or so, usually there is a big spike. So depending on how we do that last week, and we're basically laying the foundations now. What I'm trying to do in the time that I can dedicate to this is I'm basically constantly emailing journalists and seeding the social media, our channels with stuff, and hoping that somebody will pick it up. So we got some coverage last week from this German Spiegel Online publication, which is pretty big in Germany. Brought in quite a few pledges. Then we got featured by VentureBeat and the Register, and probably there's another article coming out soon on Extreme Tech, and some other minor blogs and things like that. So yeah, people are picking it up. We're still pushing things out and open to get some bigger waves. We know that in the last week there's going to be some more traffic. So for now, this is the situation, and it's encouraging because basically more than 400 people said that they support what we're doing, and definitely it's raising the profile of the project. Yeah, it's a stressful adventure in terms of watching it go up as fast as you would like it to. But there's only so much we can do, and I mean, again, this is what's going on at the moment. So if anybody has any suggestions or strategies or knows anybody that can put articles out, things like that, then you're welcome to.
Sorry, Giovanni, I just have a quick question. You mentioned the 400 backers, and I'm just kind of like interested, what is the distribution of the backing? So most people go for the worm scene or for lower pledges. I saw that we had some really high pledges with, I think, one above $5,000, another for $3,000. But sort of like, how does the distribution look like?
I'll show it to you right now. Okay. I'll just take a screenshot of
the worm legend is doing very well, Balázs. Yeah. It is the adopted neuron. Actually, was
and what is the worm legend? Can you remind me?
Yeah, it is. It was Porg's idea. The adopted neuron. People are just loving it.
Okay.
So and that's a 249 one. So
I'm just trying to share with you the distribution.
Pretty big
money. I have a graph that shows that. So, but it's basically the Kickstarter stats. I'm just sharing that image with you. Can you guys see it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that's the distribution, and there's loads of. I mean, wait. How do you interpret that?
Sorry, what's the x-axis there? That's the size of the
Make
reward.
It up.
No,
it's the value of the pledge.
I'm just trying to give you that.
Yeah, the big one is, I just remember, the big one is the $15, and then the other ones are the early adopters after that went out quite rapidly. And
I didn't make the graph myself. It's actually the Kickstarter stats, but the one thing that you cannot see is that when you hover those columns, it tells you which tier. And the one on the top right, the one on the right is basically the 5,000 one. The one on the left is the probably less than 15, and the tallest one is the 15.
But this is the numerical popularity of each of the categories, right? So presumably, like even if the top category is worth 5,000, even if it's lower on this graph here, so it'd be interesting to see this instead scaled by, the value of the awards.
We have the
amount of money.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not such a thing that they give you, but but the average, I can tell you that the average is $84 for each backer, which is not bad.
What's the median? Does it tell you?
No, it just tells you the average pledge amount, and it's 84. That's all it tells you. Then it's telling us that the video has been played 15,000 times.
50,000 times.
51,000 times.
Wow.
And 400. So that's nice. That gives you an idea of what kind of conversion rate you get when people hit the site and decide to watch the video. Out of 51,000, 409 backed the project. So that tells you pretty much.
0.8%.
Yeah, it's not too bad, to be honest.
Yeah, not too bad.
That's a normal average.
Sorry?
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, there's projects that have done worse than that. There's projects that have done better than that, but it's usually a few point percentages that you get if you're lucky. As in, it's not that you ever have conversion rates of 30%, things like that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, unless anybody has any other questions, and again, if you have ideas, feel free to reach out. I mean, I would expect you to do that because, yeah, go on, Mike.
Is there a graph of the cumulative pledges over time?
There is, and I'm gonna show you that now. Probably easier if I just share this page with you. I'm sharing the stats page so you can see all the stuff that I can see. Okay. This one. There are nice stats in there. So you can see the page now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is the funding progress. It's going up steadily. Sometimes it's flat, sometimes it goes up a bit more. It's trending towards like around 60, I think. But we expect some kind of spike, otherwise basically we are done and dusted there. But all the work that we're doing at the moment is trying to get the word out as much as possible, so that in the last week or so there is somewhat of a final push. And so this is the progression, and then it tells you that some 14% came from Kickstarter itself, and that depends on how much Kickstarter is featuring your project, because people won't just find it by digging hours into the project. There's hundreds of projects there, and then these are the sources. So you can basically do this and see that direct traffic is the biggest one. So basically, this is us giving the link to people and people pledging. It's one way or the other. I mean, us as in all of us, the kind of community exchanging links one way or the other. Then from our website, there's a good amount from Twitter, all the tweets, and then from Kickstarter search, there's 25 pledges. So this is in order of amounts. If you actually look in order of pledges, it looks a bit different. It's this one is the first still, but you can see that Kickstarter is bringing in a lot of. Kickstarter alone is bringing in 50 there, plus another 30 here, more or less. So Kickstarter alone is the biggest source of pledges, together with the direct traffic. But this is even higher because it's like around 80 people pledged via Kickstarter itself. So if we got more popularity on Kickstarter, I think it could they could impact it in a very nice way. And you do that by not sheer number of pledges, but comments and things like that. So I'm inviting everybody to leave us a comment on the Kickstarter comments page, which is basically, where is it? If I go here, we can do this from the comments. And people have commented, we are replying as much as we can. So that raises the popularity of the campaign. That together with the number of backers. So yeah, we're still in the race. Could be doing better, but this result is at least encouraging so far. The feedback is generally good. So that's pretty much the update in terms of Kickstarter. And one thing that I didn't say that I just want to show you really quick on the agenda. So we put out in the effort in trying to basically make it as accessible as possible, translations, and myself and Matteo translated it to Italian, Andre kindly translated it to Russian, Stephen, with help from his family, translated it to Spanish, Boris translated to Portuguese, and last week Johannes, our newest recruit, translated to German. So at least like this way, people are not comfortable with English can appreciate what we're talking about and possibly contribute. So that's part of the effort as well. And so in terms of Kickstarter, that's all. If anybody has questions, please ask. Otherwise, I'll move on to my very short update of what I'm doing in terms of stuff that's not Kickstarter related. So yeah, I've been doing pretty much zero coding in the last couple of months, and looking to try and find a way to get back into that. And there was a meeting, the kind of Geppetto development meeting the other day with a new waffle board and everything. So I signed myself up for this GitHub issue to add console commands to control camera positions. try to take something small that I think I can do in the next 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I can manage to keep my word there. So yeah, that's pretty much everything from me.
Alrighty. Okay, good. Cool. All right. Yeah. Awesome work, Giovanni, in getting everything going here. It's a big push. There's a lot. There's a lot going on behind the scenes to try and get as much exposure on this as you can see. 51,000 people viewing the video.
Yeah. Wow.
Kind of
That's
terrifying.
the biggest pipe I've ever had. I mean, the OpenWorm website itself has never had that many visitors in the history of OpenWorm. I think the biggest spike on the OpenWorm website was around was it a couple of thousand?
Yeah, like 30K over. Well, not in a single day, but spread out over a week.
Yeah. I mean, the single biggest spike was a couple of thousand, and in total 30K. So this is like a lot more people know about OpenWorm than they did before.
Even if the Kickstarter campaign doesn't succeed, if we get enough publicity, it's possible that there'll be such an increase in the number of volunteer programmers that we would get the equivalent of the money anyway, if we think about it in that way.
That is a good point.
And there have been more volunteer requests, by the way.
Yeah, there's every second day there's a request of somebody who wants to volunteer their time or even help out spreading the word. So it's encouraging, and definitely, I mean, we're getting loads of followers on Twitter and Facebook and that kind of stuff, which is probably not like the most exciting things in terms of the science, but we need that too to raise the profile of the project. So it's definitely serving that purpose, and we'll see how it goes.
Speaking about the profile of the project, there was, and speaking about Twitter, there was a tweet the other day. I don't know if people noticed, but it's like a student in computational neuroscience here in Oxford that just tweeted that the lecturer brought up some slides about OpenWorm during the C. elegans genetics lecture, and that was awesome. I mean, that speaks to, I mean, the kind of impact that we are doing and that we can potentially do. So, I mean, we didn't have professors talking about OpenWorm 3 years ago, right?
Cool. All right, guys, let's keep going. I got 2 more folks here, and let's go to Michael.
Sorry, guys, do you mind if I jump the queue, because I have a movie to catch in about 20 minutes? So, Michael, if you don't mind, I would...
Is it Transcendence?
Is it Spider-Man? Oh, it's
I'm going to be short anyway.
Go ahead.
Sorry, what?
I was asking if it was Spider-Man. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can't hear you now, guys.
Go ahead. Uh-oh.
That's an early start.
Anyway, so yeah, as I said, I'm going to be busy. Yeah, so I submitted the updated perspective article.
If you're not hearing him right now because of bandwidth issues, he's saying that he's submitted the Perspectives article, which I think deserves a round of applause. Getting that guy back in. Such a saga getting that going. I think everybody at some point weighed in, and you know, it's been a long time coming for after the revisions. But are you back now, bandwidth wise? Can you speak to it some more? No. Great. Just at the moment of his victory, the internet robs him. Balash, whenever you are back in, just speak. But
I want to know what's the movie.
Yeah, well, we also want to know what's the movie.
Probably like in Transcendence, they're hitting all the high-value targets, and they started with Balash.
You guys seen it, by the way? Who's seen it?
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Me too.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Pretty good. It's not clear who the enemy is. Good. You're back?
Balash?
There's 2 of them now.
One's moving. Speak.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes. Go for it.
I can't hear you.
He's at the University of Edinburgh, so if anybody is listening from the networking department of the University of Edinburgh, maybe time to check your internet bandwidth. All right, maybe Michael, you can go ahead and get started until he gets back.
Sure. So I've been, as always, working with Jim on the translation of the MATLAB code to Python, and that's ongoing. I also added a note in the meeting minutes there that I added some further documentation of the features. I basically took the supplemental documents that were prepared for the paper that the Schaefer Lab wrote and made it hyperlinked and took out the images from various parts and tried to make it into a document that's sort of usable as a manual for the features. Hopefully that can be a starting point for a reference for the features when people are trying to look them up and understand them. So that's what we've been working on. We're still working away on the features, and hopefully we'll be done soon. And that's my update.
Awesome. Did we find those notes, by the way?
I was looking for them and I couldn't find them. I'll keep looking.
Mateo, did you find them?
No, to be honest, I heard that Michael was going for it, and I didn't even look.
Yeah, let me keep going. I'll find it. Don't worry.
We don't want to lose that progress. Okay, I'll also go looking for it as well. All right. Do we think Balash is going to rejoin us? We should give him a few more minutes. Try to come back in. Okay, so let me just say, apologies for the meetings being weird. The next meeting will be in 2 weeks. Will be at this time, and we will again have a decision about what to do with the size. So I do want to do it on air if at all possible. But perhaps we can have a discussion. Perhaps folks can reply to my mail about this in terms of how to optimize to get down to 10, or I don't know, round robin with someone. I don't want to necessarily impose it, but if no one has any suggestions, I'm just going to probably nominate people to not be in or something. Maybe there's some way that I can not be in, possibly from afar. Maybe I can send my comments to somebody else. I'm not sure. But we will have to solve that until Google fixes this issue. So, all right, did we get...
They can also maybe somebody can jump out after they give their update, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Musical chairs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Balash went off to his movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
or the bandwidth.
Or maybe he just transcended.
Maybe he transcended. Then he would be in here.
Yeah. It's probably...
All right, guys. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Let's keep up the progress here online and on GitHub as usual. In 2 weeks, our Kickstarter will know one way or the other, so we'll see where that goes. But either way, of course, we will continue this process and this progress. So I'm excited about where things are going. I'm excited about we're ever getting closer here to the features of movement validation, getting closer to getting Geppetto with some neurons in there. And then the muscle cell and motor neuron synapse stuff is also very cool. Obviously, the worm body model keeps moving forward. So.
Steven, one thing I forgot to mention as we leave, it's this is happening next week. So it's the open source brain meeting. I'm going, Porig is going, Mike is going, so that will be nice to catch up with him and see where his PhD thesis is. But I will be giving a presentation. I will be mentioning both Geppetto and OpenWorm, and so that should be a good opportunity also to spread the word a bit more. There's some nice speakers that are going to the conference, which is in Sardinia. So I pasted the link in the chat if anybody wants to have a look at the program. Or
Yeah, I'm sharing it. I'm sharing on my screen. The lovely. Is that a Matteo?
That's a Farinella, yes.
Original. Someday it'll be up in a museum. Okay, yeah. And I'm sad I can't go because it's a lovely place that I've never visited, but I hear great things. So there's a list of all the folks that are speaking. Yeah, I originally wanted to go, but it didn't end up ever working out. So
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we will find a way at some point to put these things together. Yeah, there was another thing actually that I just remembered here at the end before letting you guys go. Sort of an Easter egg for those of us who stuck around to the end. So I was invited to hear Henry Markram give a presentation on the Human Brain Project in a small room of about 15 people. I think since the last meeting. I think it was since the last meeting. And so I got to have a look. They're submitting a couple new papers for publication soon. And so I think the idea was to show some initial results on slides of what they're doing with the cortex. And it's really impressive stuff, and it's a lot of really exciting data. But I think what I took away from it was I was re-energized about what we're doing. I mean, I'm always energized, but I was extra re-energized after listening to Henry Markram, and I'll tell you why. It's because they have been spending a ton of their time and a ton of their resources in trying to get to finding a way to estimate what the actual connectome of the cortex is, and they've been doing a lot of computational methods because they can't actually just measure all the connections and all the neurons and take an inventory of all of them directly. So they've spent years basically getting to the connectome, and they need to because we need to figure the cortex out, and the cortex is a much bigger problem than the C. elegans, and it gets us closer to things like human intelligence than the C. elegans does. But I was just like, wow, they don't even really have the full connectome that they're 100% sure of. They've got they're just now getting to where they can infer what that whole connection graph is and how many neurons are. He said something that shocked me, that basically the community has thought that there have been in a cortical column, this unit of computation, about 30,000 neurons in the column. And they said that based on their new estimates, it's more like 120,000. So that change in what the field thinks in terms of just the number of neurons in a column to what they are estimating now using better methods shows like how much further the field has to go. Whereas here we are, we know that there are 302 neurons. We have a pretty good estimate of like what the connections are, although I think that's not perfect, and there's some revisions coming into the connections. But like that we have now, and we have connections to the muscles. Like we have that now. So I just had this huge like seize the moment feeling after listening to that like just reinforced again in a very specific way from somebody who's driving the field forward in computational neuroscience, that we've got this massive advantage, a starting point, initial progress on. So
did you tell him?
Yeah.
Did you tell Henry Markram?
Did I tell him what about what we're doing? He knows.
This stuff that you just said now.
Did I say this?
No.
Like I've got a huge advantage over you? No, I mean it's not, not particularly polite. Also, he does have a ton more resources than we have in college. But we have this huge community, and they have a huge scientific community as well. So it's a very different thing. But just in terms of like making starting with the data set versus having to like create that data set from scratch, just struck me as like, wow, that's an exciting thing that we've got. We should. I guess I'm just sort of saying like the value of having that like connectome. We should all like really appreciate how far it puts us. How far it puts the community of folks working with computational science and C. elegans, and how precious that is. And it's not that they're not going to get it. They're going to definitely get it. I mean, they're throwing so much intelligence at that problem. They're gonna get a really good estimate of what the actual connectome is. But like we have that now, So like if I leave you with something just as a parting message, like let's seize the moment, let's seize the fact that we have this, that we have a data set that we can compare it to, that we have this physical simulation. Oh, I did see that they're starting to make like simulated rats, like rat bodies, like simulated whisking. So they are getting into like the embodiment part of it too. So they're not they're driving at it full strength. But anyway, it's just exciting to see where all these projects are. And okay, enough of me. Thanks, guys. I will see you guys in 2 weeks for sure with a full cast of characters. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Good night.